But first, tomorrow's French language debate was facing that tough competition for TV viewership. The Montreal Canadiens are playing their final regular season game, and it could be their last chance to clinch a playoff spot. So in true Canadian fashion, the debate's being moved up by 2 hours to 6 p.m. Eastern. Liberal leader Mark Carney acknowledged the competing events earlier today.
I'm going to concentrate on neither attack nor defense. But I will focus on transparency to inform those Canadians who choose to watch the debate instead of the Habs game, and we'll leave it to the Habs to decide the right combination of attack and defense over the course of the grand match.
But this was no laughing matter for Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet. He, along with the NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, were asking for the debate to be moved.
I would like anybody else, to watch the game. But now I believe that some questions are very serious about Canada's future and Quebec's future, and maybe some attention should be given to the debate. If the date can be changed, let's do that. I will, of course, make myself available at any moment.
All right, joining me now is the CBC's Jonathan Montpetit, who is a huge Canadiens fan as well as a Quebec political journalist. Okay, Jonathan, the most important election of our lifetime, but hockey still is more important, at least in debate schedule. But talk about this game, the math. Why is this game tomorrow so crucial for the Habs?
Well, the Habs right now are in the final playoff spot in their division. They have a 4-point cushion, and basically they are being chased by Columbus. Now, if Columbus wins tonight, that means the Canadiens have to win their final game, which is on Wednesday, and would coincide with the debate. And so basically the Habs season, if Columbus wins tonight, will come down to the outcome of that game at the Bell Center on Wednesday. So, for Habs fans, this would obviously be must-see TV.
Okay, so this was a season. They were written off, not expected to do anything truly great. Had a very high draft pick, if I remember. But, I mean, this would obviously mean a lot for the province should the Habs make it and get on a playoff run.
Yeah, no question. I mean, nobody gave him a chance at the start of the season. Like, look, I'm trying to get my girlfriend's kid into hockey. He's 6. And I wouldn't even show him the Canadiens games because I didn't want to scar him early on. It looks so different now. If you're out in the streets of Montreal, you see people with the Canadian flags on their cars. There's that buzz that the city gets around playoff time. And we haven't had that for several years. Habs haven't made the playoffs since 2011. And so, again, like for Canadiens fans, we feel there's something special about the team. It's a young team, there's a lot of exciting players. And strange things happen in Montreal when the Canadiens make the playoffs.
Okay, and look, I'm sure everybody's like, why are you talking about hockey? We're not turning into a sports show. But this matters in terms of the audience for this debate, right? We had Tout le monde en parle on Sunday. Jonathan, a big audience there. But if the Habs were up against this debate, and the Habs are in a win and in scenario, I mean, what is the sense people have of what this would mean for the actual number of viewers who would watch this French debate tomorrow night?
So, I mean, something interesting to keep in mind is that the last 2 French debates in the federal elections have had huge audiences, over 4 million, 5 million, in fact, in 2019, a little 4.3 million in 2021. Now, obviously, that's across the country, but, we can imagine that a big part of that comes from Quebec. It's higher proportionally than for the English debates. So if you kind of have the figure of, something like 4 million people would be watching the debates, a Habs playoff game usually gets around 1 million viewers. Mm-hmm. So, it would definitely be eating into the audience for the debate. And I think that the French debate is all the more important this year because unlike in past years, there hasn't been the TVA face-à-face debate. This is the first time Quebecers and French-speaking Canadians will see the leaders really face off against each other.
Okay, but just as a final point, if the Flyers are playing, it's the Hurricanes, right? Tonight?
Right, and
so if the Flyers win tonight, none of this matters, and we've moved the debate for no reason.
Exactly.
I just want to drive that home.
Flyers, I got the teams confused. That's right. Yeah. If Philly wins tonight, then we have moved the debate for nothing.
Right.
But if Philly loses tonight, then it absolutely Habs have to win, and there will be a lot of grateful political Canadiens fans.
Okay. Jonathan Montpetit, thank you for walking us through this latest episode in the most bizarre election of my lifetime. We're going to talk about all this with the Power Panel. Joining me now is Françoise Boivin, Sherelle Evelyn, Kate Harrison, and Michelle Cadario. Okay. Go Flyers, I guess. All right. So,
yes, you got it.
So, Françoise, let's start there. They've moved this up to 6 o'clock. This changes a lot of plans we had for our show for tomorrow, by the way. Is this the right move? Like, is this that big of, I'm not trying to downplay, but is this that big of a collision in audience, as Jonathan says, that millions and millions of people just would not have watched this debate?
It's quite right. I agree with Jonathan. I mean, on Mardi de Politique today, we had a full segment on it. We have to take this in perspective, though. Mr. Blanchette had no idea that it had succeeded before, because he was asked by, I think it was Julienne Lapointe from Radio-Canada, if he intended on asking the commission. And at the time, it was not the commission, it was the different networks who had agreed to change the date. So at first, his reaction was like, no, because I don't think it's going to be for any avail. And she said, well, it worked in 2011 when Mr. Duceppe asked for it. So it's like, oh, well, that is tempting. And from that moment on, you could feel in my province, a whole shift. Now it became possible to watch the hockey game and also watch the debate. So it put pressure on the other leaders. Usually you need to have them agreeing with the change. And I think the population, there's some people who say you should never change this for mere hockey. But when you know in Quebec there's two love, I mean hockey and politics, you're torn between the two. So I think it was the right decision. But to change the date would have been wrong.
Yeah, that would have been a problem.
But to just change the time, I mean, yeah, it complicates your life and some chroniqueurs' life. But all in all, I think it was the right decision for people. Because people want to watch.
Yeah.
Jonathan was saying it, because we want to see Mr. Carney in a position of a debate. How does he stand to Mr. Poiliev and the others and Monsieur Blanchette? So and Monsieur Singh. It should be interesting.
Okay, I have to correct myself. It's the Columbus Blue Jackets. Sorry, the Hurricanes would be the game Montreal plays tomorrow. It's Columbus playing the Flyers tonight. So just for those of you keeping score at home, Michelle, they have been moved before, but with multiple days' notice for an actual playoff game. This is just what do you make of this adjustment to the schedule?
Well, I think it's smart. First of all, it's something that all the leaders and all the parties actually agreed on. So, mark that as first time in a very long time.
Consensus.
And secondly, it's probably going to draw in more people who are deciding that they're going to sit down and watch the hockey game. Maybe they'll tune in for that hour ahead of time and actually see more of the debate. So I think making debates more accessible for more people is absolutely the right thing to do, and it feels unbelievably Canadian, because where else would that happen? So bravo to all of them.
Kate, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, bias disclosed. My dad was a friend of Bob Gainey, and he's a legendary Canadian, so I'll be, trying to keep a foot on both logs and watch the debate and take in the game. But I think this actually underscores a bit of a broader point, which is only one official debate in each language. Is that actually enough? Not a whole lot of options to pivot. There's 12 days left in this campaign.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more campaigns. If the TVA debate had occurred, we would have had another opportunity to see the leaders face off against each other in French. So I think it was the right decision, but I kind of go back to this, whether or not one debate in each official language is actually enough, with only 11, 12 days before people actually head to the polls.
Yeah, as an Atlantic Canadian, I've always felt we should have regional debates.
That's another
and
great
let
point.
local candidates debates.
Yeah,
for
like
example.
that debate is now going to be, 3 p.m. on the West Coast? Like, who's tuning in?
Yeah, Sherelle, well, I get that. I mean, I know there are francophones outside of Quebec, but, New Brunswick and Quebec would be predominantly where this is focused at. So the time frame still works, though an imperfect solution in let's face it, Sherelle, an unusual election.
Yeah, it is unusual, and it does drive home the whole thing that you come back to, like, why is the West so angry? Why do they think Quebec and the East get special treatment? Well, this is why. Obviously, yes, we know that it is an important thing. You want as many people to tune in as possible, and it's not like we're stuck on regular satellite TV. You don't terrestrial television. You don't have to tune in at precisely 6 p.m. Eastern to watch this debate. You can watch it whenever you want, after it's aired. So that I think would have been the other, had they not decided to move the debate, like that would have been, I think, maybe perhaps the fallback. And they said, well, you know what, everybody will watch later. When their TV shows are looking at their ratings, they're looking at, the times that everybody else was watching, not just the second it aired. But it is an important thing for people to sit down and realize that this is, as you said, the only opportunity people are going to really have to see how the leaders handle and comport themselves in French in this debate, going head to head. And that is no small thing. When you get the point of having somebody who is Prime Minister, Mark Carney, he has never been tested in this forum before. The Liberal leadership debates, it was a very friendly forum. He had people helping him out when he made mistakes in French.
You don't think Pierre Poilievre and Mr. Blanchette are going to do that tomorrow?
highly
doubt that is going to happen this year.
I don't know. I know it's a weird election. Anything can happen. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, it's Pierre Poilievre's first sort of debate, though. I think he showed in the leadership contest he's not afraid to go hard at people if he has to. But he's in an interesting position. We'll get into the strategies and stuff a little bit later. But I do.